And to celebrate the release of the new Nightmare on Elm Street movie in theaters, today's Toy Spot, we're going to be looking at the Neca A Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Fred Krueger. So far, there's only been 2 figures released from the new Nightmare on Elm Street figure collection. Of course, we have Fred Krueger here, and finally we have Freddy Krueger, the before and after. I figured first in the 2 videos I'm doing here, I figured first let's just actually look at Fred Krueger. After all, he does start as Fred Krueger in the movie. Why not actually start Fred Krueger at the review? Makes sense. The figure package itself, there's not really a lot to it. Certainly NECA has gone with a more slender package as opposed to the package where you have the figure and then the card or the clamshell is a little bit wider and then there's the artwork there. Instead, they've actually just put the artwork on the of the poster actually behind the figure. It's not bad, but I mean, certainly you can't quite really make out what's going on in the back aside from you know, Freddy's claws going on there. Down below we have a picture of Freddy Krueger. On the back, now granted, the only downside though with the Fred Krueger figure at least is it seems to have used the Freddy Krueger back card. So there's not really a picture of Fred Krueger, there is a picture of Freddy Krueger. The write-up says, or the read-up says, a group of suburban teenagers share one common bond. They are all being stalked by Freddy Krueger, a horribly disfigured killer who hunts them down in their dreams. As long as they stay awake, they can protect one another, but when they sleep, there is no escape. Very, very cool. I am excited. I am extremely excited to go see the new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And I'm also excited to get this figure opened up. So let's not wait any longer. What we'll do is we'll get old Fred Krueger out of his package. And what we'll do is we'll have a better look at the figure. So stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. And now that we have Fred Krueger out of his package, let's get a better look at the figure. There's really not a lot going on with this figure. Although, for what little it has going on, it surprisingly does it very well. It does look like, from now what I've seen of the Fred Krueger figure in its, or Freddy Krueger figure in his package, it does actually look like it shares the exact same body mold. The pants, as well as the boots, or the shoes, do look exactly the same as the Freddy Krueger figure. You'll see that more. I'll do a comparison when I get the other figure opened up. I believe JTrain997 commented on this, and I actually have to agree with him. It does look, in fact, like they've used the top torso of the Freddy Krueger figure as well, and they've merely added this additional rubber torso to simulate the zipper jacket that he seems to wear in the beginning of the movie, or at least based on the trailer. It would have been nice almost that this jacket could have been a piece you could open up, but then it wouldn't stay as closed as you see now. It would probably be very prone to just kind of be loose and stay open, even though you maybe necessarily want it closed. But the figure itself is very nice. It is very nice. I don't know if it's deliberate, but the jacket is very hunched. In fact, he actually looks like he's quite hunched over. It might just be that he's wearing an oversized jacket. It could also just be because of the molding of the mold. Just the fact that they put this extra piece over top of his existing torso. The one thing I do like about the figure as well is the sculpt actually on the head. It looks exactly like Jackie Earle. Hair-wise, it's a little bit different than, maybe how he looked in Watchmen, for example, where he had more of a brush cut. But based on what I've seen in the trailer so far, granted, by the time you're watching this, I probably still have not seen the movie. I'm going to see if I can get the wife out to it, but the face is very, very nice. It is very nice. And I actually like the fact that if you actually look at the hands actually were done really well too. They're not youthful looking hands. They actually look very old and wrinkly. I am very impressed with this figure though. Very, very impressed. He only actually comes with one accessory, which actually is interesting because, again, if you haven't seen the movie, where as you're watching this right now, I have not seen the movie yet, but he comes with a garden tool, and it's actually it's inside a hand. The hand, you actually got a separate hand holding it. You can take the hand out, and I want to make sure I got the right hand here. Take the hand out, just a little via peg there, and peg it into place. And there you have Fred Krueger with, is he going to go garden? I really don't know. I'm almost thinking no. And it could be maybe the early evolution of Freddy. Maybe he uses this early on in his killings, and then later on adopts the infamous Freddy glove. It's pretty neat. I don't know if, again, I might keep this figure with this on once I see the movie. Once maybe it makes more sense. As it stands right now, though, I probably would just keep the normal human hand pegged into place instead. Now, in the way of his articulation, he has a full range of movement in his head. He's got the ball-jointed head. He has the ball-jointed shoulders. And despite the fact they've added this additional piece, you still get lots of movement from it. He has, I tried to bend it earlier, it didn't seem like it wanted to, but he does have a jointed elbow that you can also rotate as well. And being that the hand, even though it just fell out here, being that it is on a peg, you can actually rotate the hand. Not very well, unfortunately, with this hand, but the other hand is a little bit easier. He has what seems to be waist articulation, really not by much though. And finally, he has a rotation in his feet. Now, the real problem I have with this figure, and it's not so much a problem because the figure itself is gorgeous. I don't know if I would have actually sold this figure on his own. If you've seen the example of the Friday the 13th 2-pack that came with Pamela Voorhees and Jason Voorhees, probably the same argument I have with this figure here. Yes, it is a nice figure, but I know most kids, and probably most, unless you're a diehard collector and you really would want to get both figures, unless you're a diehard collector, I don't see many people picking up the Fred Krueger on his own. It leads me really to believe that if you were to pick up the Fred Krueger, it's only because you already have the Freddy Krueger or because you've bought them at the same time. I don't know if anyone would actually go out of their way and buy Fred Krueger again unless they already had the Freddy. For that reason, I almost see poor Fred here, poor Fred in his zipper jacket, I almost see him as a peg warmer. Most people, I'm sure, would go in, scoop up and pick up all the Freddys and leave poor Fred all on his own. So really, that's the only thing I would have said about this figure. It's a really, really nice figure, but as a collector, I'm more inclined to probably pick up this figure anyways, as with most horror movie collectors out there. As a casual collector, probably nobody would pick up a Fred Krueger, but would very, very likely pick up a Freddy Krueger. For that reason, I almost think NECA really should have packaged a Fred and Freddy as a 2-pack. And maybe offer a Freddy as a separate single figure, but the only way to get the Fred was maybe to get the 2-pack. That way, most collectors would probably get this guy and the Freddy anyways, and most casual collectors could go and buy the Freddy. Doesn't take anything away from the figure. The figure is really, really nice. I just don't think it's going to sell well unless you're a real diehard collector who wants to get this guy also. That being said, though, the figure I'd probably give a 7. A really high figure. It's, like I said, well sculpted. The paint is really nice, and it definitely looks like Jackie Earle, but I don't know selling it in a single pack would have been a smart choice. But that was a toy spot. Today we were looking at the new Nightmare on Elm Street Fred Krueger. Now stay tuned. Stay tuned for my review of Freddy Krueger. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys next time. Later.